All right, let's jump right in. We're going deep today into new school hip hop.
Okay.
We've got this top 10 best new school rappers list from, the top 10's website. It's
Right.
all fan voted ranks, artists who've like blown up since 2010. And, these lists that they always get people fired up, right?
Oh,
So
sure.
get ready for some hot takes, maybe some controversial rankings.
Yeah, these lists are always a fun way to see, what fans are really into
Yeah.
and explore this huge world of hip hop today,
Hmm.
contemporary hip hop.
Right, right.
But to really get what makes new school different, maybe we should start with what makes it
Yeah.
different from, what came before.
I like that. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to just focus on the names and who's ranked where.
Right.
But what are we even talking about when we say new school?
Well, generally, new school hip hop means artists who came out
Oh,
after the mid 2000s.
okay.
And it often means a shift away from that gangster rap and bling era
Right.
that was big in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Musically, you hear more different influences now,
Okay.
like jazz, soul, even electronic and experimental sounds.
Interesting.
And lyrically, there are way more themes,
Yeah.
from introspective stuff,
Yeah.
conscious rap to trap, and more melodic styles.
Okay, so it's not just about the year they debuted, but a real change in
Exactly.
the sound, the lyrics, their whole approach, really.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of artists who embody that shift,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about the top 3 on this list. Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Tyler, the Creator.
Okay. Yeah.
Fans are worshiping Kendrick,
Right.
calling him an unparalleled legend.
I mean, it's interesting how Kendrick is both critically acclaimed
Mm-hmm.
and commercially successful.
Yeah.
He's pushing boundaries with his music,
Right.
bringing in jazz, funk, spoken word, but he's also making albums that connect with so many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take You from To Pimp a Butterfly, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
You hear this raw, almost painful self-reflection in his voice, right?
Mhm.
And it's delivered over this chaotic free jazz backdrop.
Wow.
It's not exactly, radio friendly, but it's so powerful.
Yeah.
And emotionally resonant.
It's like he's redefining what a hip hop album can even be.
Totally.
And one fan even said, only Tyler, the Creator, can compete with this deity.
Wow.
That is some high praise. What makes Tyler such a force?
Tyler's evolution has been really fascinating to watch.
Mhm.
He started out with this really abrasive shock value style,
Right.
but he's matured so much as an artist
Yeah.
and embraced this more melodic, introspective sound.
Okay.
But even when he's exploring those vulnerable themes,
Mm-hmm.
there's still this playful, almost mischievous energy to his music.
I could see that.
It's like he's always messing with genre conventions, blending hip-hop with R&B,
Yeah.
even psychedelic rock.
Wow.
Flower Boy is a great example of that evolution.
So he's not afraid to experiment and keep things interesting.
Definitely.
Now, J. Cole, he gets a lot of respect for being consistently good,
Mm-hmm.
bridging that gap between mainstream appeal and more artistic rap.
Yeah, J. Cole's definitely a master of balancing those two things, accessibility and substance.
Yeah.
His production often uses these warm, soulful samples,
Okay.
and his lyrics explore those relatable themes of love, loss,
Mhm.
social consciousness, things like that.
Right.
But what really sets him apart is his storytelling.
Okay.
He can craft these narratives that pull you in
Yeah.
and make you feel like you're living those stories with him,
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, like For Your Eyes Only.
Okay.
It tells this heartbreaking story from the point of view of a dead friend,
Oh, wow.
and it's addressed to his daughter.
Oh,
It's
man.
incredibly moving and really makes you think.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Okay, moving down this list, we've got some fan favorites with tons of hype in the comments. Logic, Joey Bada,
Okay.
and AAP Rocky. Logic gets major props for his technical skills, especially on Under Pressure.
Yeah, what are some of those technical things that stand out to you about his rapping?
Yeah, for sure.
Logic is known for his complex rhyme schemes and how fast he raps. He often uses internal rhymes and multisyllabic patterns, creating this really dense,
Yeah.
almost dizzying lyrical texture.
Okay.
For example, in Gang Related, he has this line, I'm from the streets where the fiends at, the zombies, the demons, the heathens.
Whoa.
See how he's weaving those internal rhymes together? They're
Yeah.
fiends, zombies, demons.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the same time, he keeps this really tight rhythmic flow.
It's impressive.
It's impressive, yeah.
You can really hear the skill, the precision.
Totally.
And then there's Joey Bada, who's championed as, like, the best underground artist right now. One fan recommended 1999 and B4DA.
Yeah, what's interesting about Joey is his dedication to that boom bap style,
Okay.
which is a throwback to that classic 90s hip-hop sound.
Right.
You hear those hard-hitting drums, jazzy samples, that raw energy.
Yeah, I like that.
But he's not just copying the past, you know?
Right.
He's building on it, adding his own lyrical depth, a modern perspective.
So he's respecting the roots of hip-hop while still pushing it forward.
Exactly.
I like that. Now, A.P. Rocky, he gets praise for his unique voice, impressive flow, and ability to deliver these witty lines, even on themes that, you know, maybe get repeated a lot.
Yeah, A.P. Rocky really embodies this, like, stylish, fashion-forward approach to hip-hop.
Okay.
His flow is laid back, almost like he's just talking to you.
Right.
But he can bend words, play with rhythm, and make even civil lines sound super catchy.
Interesting.
He also embraces that southern trap influence with those heavy 808s and hypnotic melodies. But what sets him apart is his sense of humor.
Okay.
He can be playful with his lyrics, even when he's talking about serious stuff.
So it's style, substance, and a little bit of wit all mixed together. Yeah, the comments section is just exploding with these passionate debates about the rankings.
Oh, yeah.
People have such strong opinions about these artists.
Of course. It shows how much they care about the music.
Right.
These debates just reflect how many different tastes and perspectives there are in the hip-hop community.
Yeah.
That's what keeps it alive and evolving, you know?
I agree. Speaking of evolving,
Yeah.
let's talk about a few rappers who spark some really interesting comments.
Okay.
Hopsin, Chance the Rapper, and Childish Gambino. One fan shared this cool story about Hopsin being mentored by Eazy-E before he passed away.
Oh, wow.
What do you think that connection to, like, a hip-hop legend brings to his music?
That connection to Eazy-E definitely gives Hopsin some street cred.
Right.
And a sense of, like, being part of hip-hop history. You can hear that West Coast influence in his music, especially his earlier stuff.
Okay.
He's known for his aggressive delivery, his dark, kind of horror-inspired imagery, and his willingness to tackle those controversial topics.
Yeah, he's not afraid to push some buttons.
He's definitely not.
And then there's Chance the Rapper, who gets a lot of praise for his innovative approach to releasing music. Remember when he won a Grammy for an album that was only on streaming services and it was free?
Yeah.
That was huge.
It was a huge moment.
Yeah.
Chance's success really challenged the traditional way the music industry works, you know? He showed that artists could make it big without signing to a major label.
Right.
By using the internet and social media to connect directly with fans.
Yeah, Coloring Book was a game changer.
It was.
It proved that free music could be high quality and commercially successful.
It definitely did.
Yeah, that was a big moment for independent artists.
For sure.
Now, Childish Gambino, he's another artist who's hard to put in a box. One fan praised his talent, but jokingly told him to stop rapping about Asian girls.
Gotta love that fan honesty, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's always interesting to see how fans react to what artists say in their lyrics.
Right.
Childish Gambino is known for his witty, often self-deprecating humor, you know?
Yeah.
And he's willing to explore those personal, sometimes awkward topics in his music. He's also someone who seamlessly blends genres, mixes funk, soul, and pop into his hip-hop sound.
So he's not afraid to experiment and just be himself, which I think resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now, before we move on to the contender section of this list,
Okay.
I want to get your overall take on what we've seen so far. What are some of the big trends or characteristics that define new school hip-hop for you?
Well, what really stands out to me is the sheer diversity of styles and approaches.
Yeah.
We've seen artists who are pushing boundaries with their production and lyrics, artists who are embracing those classic sounds and techniques, artists who are blurring genre lines and experimenting with how they release their music.
Right.
New school. Hip-hop isn't so much about a specific sound, but more about an attitude,
Okay.
a willingness to innovate and challenge expectations.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And that diversity is reflected in all those passionate debates we see among fans.
Right.
It reminds us that there's no one right way to do hip-hop, which I think is really exciting.
It is.
Now, let's dive into that contenders section and see what other gems we can find.
Sounds good.
Okay, we're back, ready to go even deeper with this top 10 best new school rappers list.
Right.
We're in the contenders now.
All right.
Which means things are going to get even more interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
These are the artists who are really sparking debate, you know?
Right.
They might not have cracked the top 10, but they're definitely making waves.
I'm excited to dig into this section.
Me too.
The contenders are often like the up-and-comers, the ones who are really pushing things, challenging the established order, you know?
Right.
They might not be mainstream yet, but they're the ones to watch.
Exactly. And one name that pops up a lot in the comments is Joyner Lucas.
Okay.
One fan even said it's frustrating, like he gets so little recognition.
Even though he puts so much effort into his music,
Yeah.
what do you think about Joyner? Does he have what it takes to break through?
Joyner Lucas is an interesting case, you know.
Right.
He's super skilled. Technically, his flow is perfect. His rhyme schemes are complex. And he's not afraid to talk about tough topics in his lyrics.
Right.
But he also has this theatrical, almost cinematic quality to his music.
Okay.
Which can be polarizing.
How so?
Like, some people find it really engaging, while others find it a bit over the top.
So it's that love it or hate it kind of style that can either take you to the top or keep you underground.
Exactly. And it's not just about style.
Right.
It's also about finding the right audience, connecting with them emotionally. For some people, Joyner's intensity might be too much, but for others, it's exactly what they're looking for.
Right. It's about finding your niche, building a loyal fan base who gets you.
Absolutely. And sometimes commercial success is also about timing.
Okay.
And a little bit of luck, you know?
You could be super talented.
Yeah.
But if you're not in the right place at the right time,
Right.
it can be hard to break through.
There are so many factors at play.
There are.
Another name-generating buzz, but for different reasons, is XXXTentacion.
Okay.
One fan even commented, most of the music he made wasn't actual rap music. How do you see XXXTentacion fitting into this whole new school landscape?
XXXTentacion's career was tragically cut short.
Yeah.
But you can't deny the impact he had.
Right.
He was a complex figure, both musically and personally. His music was raw, emotional, often disturbing, even blurring those lines between hip-hop, emo, punk.
Interesting.
He tapped into this dark energy, this angst,
Yeah.
that resonated with a lot of young people.
Right.
But his personal life was full of controversy and legal trouble.
It's a complicated legacy, for sure.
It is.
His music connected with people, but it's hard to separate the art from the artist in his case.
Exactly, and that's something we're seeing more and more these days.
Yeah.
How do we appreciate someone's work when their personal behavior is problematic?
Right. It's a tough question.
It is, with no easy answers.
Shifting gears a bit, we have your old Droog.
Okay.
He's kind of an underground legend, right?
He is.
Known for that classic New York sound. One fan even imagined him crashing the Grammys.
What?
Yelling, Kendrick is good, but old Droog is the best.
That's hilarious.
I know, right?
It shows how dedicated some fans are.
He really does.
Even if old Droog stays underground, his fans love his style and see him as this, like, hidden gem.
It makes you wonder, what does it really take to make it big in hip-hop?
That's the question, isn't it?
Is it just talent, or is it marketing, connections, luck?
It's probably a mix of everything.
Yeah.
We've seen artists like Chance the Rapper become huge through hard work and innovation, while others might have the skills but haven't found the right platform or opportunity yet.
So many factors involved. But, you know, regardless of charts or popularity, what really matters is that connection between the artist and the listener.
I agree. And that's what makes this top 10 list so interesting.
Right.
It starts conversations, shows different tastes.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it encourages us to go listen for ourselves and form our own opinions.
That's the beauty of it, right?
It is.
Now, as we move on to the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I'm curious to hear your overall thoughts on what this list says about new school hip-hop. What are some of the key takeaways for you?
Well, one of the most striking things is just how many different styles and approaches there are.
Right.
From Kendrick's jazz-influenced lyrics to AAP Rocky's trap sound to Chance the Rapper's independent spirit.
Yeah.
New school hip-hop is a mix of everything.
It's not just one thing, it's a whole spectrum.
Exactly. And that variety is a sign that the genre is still alive and relevant.
I agree.
Hip-hop is always evolving, taking in new influences, pushing boundaries.
And that's what keeps it exciting.
It does.
Now, let's wrap up this deep dive with some final thoughts and reflections on what we've learned about new school hip-hop.
Sounds good.
So we've gone through this whole top 10 best new school rappers list, and Man, there's a lot to unpack. We've seen how passionate fans are, the controversies, how the sound has changed. It's been quite a ride.
It has.
But before we wrap up our deep dive into, the world of new school hip hop, I want to touch on a few more things from the comments that really stood out.
Yeah, it's those little details, the fans' perspectives, that really make the lift come alive.
Totally.
It's not just a ranking, it's like a conversation starter. A glimpse into what really connects with people.
Right, like there was this one comment about Childish Gambino.
Okay.
They were praising his flow, his wordplay, but then they jokingly said, "Stop rapping about Asian girls." It just shows how fan feedback can be so honest, funny,
Yeah.
and kind of awkward all at the same time.
It does.
What do you think?
I think it shows that playful back and forth between artists and their fans,
Yeah,
Gambino's known for that self-aware humor, so he might even appreciate it.
right.
But it also reminds us that everyone hears lyrics differently and brings their own experiences to the music, which leads to those unexpected takes sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Another comment that I kept thinking about was the one about XXXTentacion.
Okay.
The fan acknowledged his impact, but said most of his music wasn't actually rap music.
Right.
And it got me thinking about how genre lines are so blurred these days, especially in new school hip-hop.
It's true. XXXTentacion's music really challenged how we define rap. He brought in emo, punk, even metal.
Wow.
It's part of what made him so controversial, but also so influential.
Right.
He tapped into this rawness, this vulnerability
Yeah.
that resonated with young people who didn't connect with, like, mainstream hip-hop.
So he was pushing the boundaries, expanding what the genre could be.
I think so.
It reminds me of how Tyler, the creator, has also experimented with different sounds throughout his career.
Totally. And that experimentation is really at the heart of new school hip-hop. These artists aren't afraid to take inspiration from all kinds of genres,
Right.
mixing sounds and styles to create something new and fresh.
It keeps things exciting, for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of unexpected, there's this one comment that was so funny.
What was it?
And imagine your old Droog storming the Grammy stage, yelling, "Kendrick is good, but old Droog is the best."
Oh, man.
It just shows how dedicated some fans are to their favorites.
It's that diehard support, that belief in their artist. It's great.
It makes you think, though, what does it really take to become a huge star in hip-hop?
It's a good question.
Is it just raw talent, or is it marketing? Luck?
It's probably all those things combined.
Yeah.
Like we said, Chance the Rapper made it big through hard work and doing things differently. While others might be incredibly talented, but haven't found the right platform or the right moment yet.
So many pieces of the puzzle.
Right.
But at the end of the day, no matter how famous you are, what really matters is that connection
Yeah,
between the artist and the person listening.
totally. And that's what makes this whole top 10 list so fascinating.
Right.
It starts conversations, highlights different tastes, and most importantly, it makes us want to go explore the music for ourselves
Yeah.
and decide what we think.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what would you say are the main takeaways for our listener?
I think the biggest takeaway is that new school hip-hop is so diverse. It's constantly changing.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go beyond the big names. Explore the music of artists who catch your attention and see what speaks to you personally.
That's the beauty of music, right?
It is.
It's a personal journey of discovery.
Absolutely.
So to our listener, I'd say, let this deep dive be your starting point. Go out there, explore the world of new school hip hop, and find those artists who really resonate with you.
You might just find your new favorite rapper.
You never know.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into new school hip-hop.
Until next time.
Keep those beats bumping and stay curious.